This little video is going to quickly review sequences. So now to do sequences, the equations can be found on the reference sheet. So you're going to get this type of reference sheet on the last page of your Regents exam. I think it's the back page, but you can tear it off. So you can see here, it says tear here. This is like a photocopy, say, of an actual Regents. It's a tear off page that you can have, and then usually they ask you to tuck it back inside, just like the answer keys, the same thing. You're asked to tuck it back inside. It gives you the formula for arithmetic sequence and geometric sequence. So they are both, if you can see it, right here on the reference sheet where my two fingers are. That's the arithmetic and geometric. So arithmetic sequence is when you have addition and subtraction, and you usually call that a difference, common difference. When you have multiplication and division for a geometric sequence, that's called the common ratio. So the difference is like how you're adding or subtracting between the terms and how you're increasing or decreasing by. Positives are always an increase, negatives are a decrease. When you have a common ratio, you're multiplying or dividing, or you can say multiplying by a whole number or multiplying by a fraction is the same thing as saying dividing by that value that's in the denominator. So you could say that the numbers double. I go from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32. That is a common ratio of 2. If I did it the other way around, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, that would be a common ratio of 1/2, because I'm reducing them by a half each time, or cutting them in half, multiplying by half, dividing by 2, what have you. Okay, so looking at the document I have on the screen right now, this is actually asking you to find common difference or common ratio. I'm not going to go too far into this. 5, 8, 11, 14. What am I increasing each one by? To go from 5 to 8, I'm increasing by 3. 8 to 11, I'm increasing by 3. 11 to 14, I'm increasing by 3. So choice 3 would be your answer. So when you're asked to find a common difference and you're given a bunch of numbers, you're just looking for the pattern. Like how am I going from one number to the next? And here's where I wish I could write. So question number 2 says, in an arithmetic sequence, the first term is 4 and the third term is -2. What is the common difference? So a question like this, I think the way you have to do it, if I remember correctly, would be to figure out how you're going from 4 to -2. So obviously you're going from 4 to a positive to a negative, so you're going to be decreasing. If I take 4 minus -2, that's an absolute value distance of 6. If I'm breaking it up into threes, 4 to something, then something to -2, and I say that take that 6 and divide by 3, I get a value of 2. So if I go 4 minus 2 is 2, that'll be the second term. No, that doesn't work. So no, so then you're not going to be doing it into threes. You're going to cut it into half because it's first term. Yeah, so you're only looking for a middle term. So you would cut it in half. Sorry, so it'd be -3. So 4 minus 3 is 1. Then 1 minus another 3 would give me -2. So again, if that didn't make sense, again, I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can switch to here. Here we go. Can I type on here? Okay, I switched to the whiteboard. So we're talking about going from 4 to -2. So we're looking for what number is in between here. Like, how am I getting from 4 to this value I'm going to call x to -2? So what I do is I said, okay, I did 4 minus -2, which is the same thing as saying 4 plus 2 equals 6. I'm talking about absolute value. I'm looking for the value in between the two of them. So take a 6 and divide by, so 6 and divide by 2, I get a 3. But since I'm decreasing, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract by 3. So 4 minus 3 gives me a 1. So that's what here is going to be. So now x I replace with a 1. Now I'm going to do 1 minus 3, which becomes, move this over here so it's out of the way. Same thing as saying 1 plus negative 3. One plus negative 3, which will give me the negative 2 that we are looking for. So our common difference here is negative 3 or minus 3, and the middle value would be 1. So going back to the question, the common difference would be that choice 3, negative 3. Question 3. Let's see how they do question 3. So question 3. Oh, they're doing it like oh, I see how they're doing it. Okay, so they're doing it like rate of change. Huh, I didn't think to do it that way. Find like rate of change. 17 to 5, then 5 to 1. 17 to 5. Oh, I see. So first term is 5, fifth term is 17. So they kind of group them into coordinates, I guess, or the first term and the fifth term, 1 comma 5, and then 5 comma 17. And that's how they came up with the values to subtract. I get it now. Okay, so you subtract the difference between the two terms in the sequence and then the number of terms. So 5 minus 1, and then you divide. Okay, that makes sense. This is all common difference. Geometric is the same thing, but remember, geometric, you're talking about multiplication or division. So looking at question 12 here, it says, which of the following is geometric? So I have 16 to negative 12, then 9 to negative 6.75. Choice 2 is 1 to 4 to 9 to 16. 3 is 6, 18, 30, 42. 4 is 1/2, 2/3, 3/4, 4/5. Which pattern is geometric? Okay, so let's see. Question 12. It's saying choice 1, which is the one I was thinking of, because it seems that they go up at a pattern or decrease by a pattern. Again, the question that you're going to see more likely is to find a common ratio or common difference, and then maybe even create an equation, again, using one of those that are provided for you in the reference sheet. That's what you would more likely do. Okay, so I'm going to stop there with sequences. So just make sure you understand ratio. Common difference is adding and subtracting by a value. Common ratio is multiplying or dividing by a value. Arithmetic sequence is dealing with addition, subtraction. Geometric sequence, multiplication or division. That's pretty much what you need to come away from with sequences. And again, those two formulas on the back and how to apply them. D stands for common difference. R stands for the common ratio. And then the N in both of them, again, they're right here. The N stands for the number that you're talking about. So like if I'm looking for the fifth term, I put in n equals 5. A sub 1 is referring to the first term in the sequence. The A sub n, that's whatever item in the sequence you are looking for. All right, so that's the end of the recording for sequences.